Am I really making this video without making coffee first? No, I'm not. What's going on, everybody? My name is Wesley Scott. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I expose S-Log2 as well as color correct S-Log2 in DaVinci Resolve without a correction LUT. It's going to be a quick, simple tutorial for you guys. Hopefully it'll give you some answers for some questions you might have about S-Log2. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, I've tried to say this many times. I'm going to slow down, gather my thoughts, see if I can actually do this in one go. For exposing S-Log2, a lot of the information you'll recognize on YouTube if you've done any research on how to expose for S-Log2 recommend you shoot 2 stops over on S-Log2. This is true, but might not be as straightforward as you think based on the waveform. If you're thinking, I want to shoot 2 stops over on S-Log2, so if I want to shoot at a 50% exposure or 50% IRE, to expose correctly for S-Log2, I want to shoot 2 stops over for that. That is not true. You're going to end up blowing out your highlights and losing a lot of dynamic range that S-Log2 has to offer. What they're talking about shooting 2 stops over with S-Log2 is that Sony recommends to maintain the best dynamic range that you expose for your middle at 32% IRE, I believe it is. This does give you the most dynamic range out of the image, but it can also introduce a lot of noise in your image. So if you're going for a mixture of the highest quality looking image as well as the most dynamic range, you want to shoot around that 2 stop mark, which in reality will bring your middle gray to actually around the middle point on a waveform if you're looking at it in post, which is around 50% IRE. That made any sense to you? So when I'm filming, I use an external monitor which has false color on it, and I expose for my skin tones normally at a 50% IRE, or kind of where my face hits between a green and pink level, right in between where it kind of hits gray, which is that middle IRE spot on a waveform. So to someone who thinks that you're exposing 2 stops over, if you were to expose 2 stops over on S-Log2 on a false color exposure chart, I would be way overexposing my face, my skin tones, and it would look really, really bad, and my image wouldn't come out very good, and I would miss out on a lot of dynamic range. So I'm actually just normally exposing for S-Log2 as you would with false color. Now, if you don't have an external monitor and you don't have access to false colors, I recommend finding either a false color LUT that you can look on, practice exposing with your LCD screen and learning how it looks on your LCD screen so you can just kind of eyeball it, because S-Log2 is actually pretty forgiving in terms of over and under exposing within a couple stops. If that doesn't work for you too, I recommend using zebras and setting that to a range of 48 to 50 IRE, and then that's going to be your middle exposure, and that will be a good exposure for S-Log2 with just the tools I have on the Sony camera. So now that you know how to expose properly for S-Log2, let's go ahead and jump into DaVinci Resolve and color correct it back to Rec 709 so you can focus on the color grade and the look of your video. For example, this is shot just LCD screen, no monitor, just eyeballing the exposure of what it should look like, and this is how it came out in post. This is before and after. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into Resolve though, real quick. Alright, so we're here in Resolve. I went ahead and made 2 nodes. One's going to be for exposure, and one's going to be for saturation and white balance. So I'm going to go ahead and select on the first node, and you're going to look over here at your waveform, and you notice it is a little bit underexposed, but this is a darker image, nothing super bright in it, so this is actually correctly exposed for the look on the image I wanted to go for. So for setting correction, you're going to go over to your primary wheels, your color wheels, and what I'm going to do is just take the lift and drag it all the way down to just before 0, maybe slightly under, just so I bring those shadows down. And then I'm going to take the gain and go ahead and lift it up just a little bit above, that 50% line, because besides this part in the image, my skin actually is going to be the brightest part in this image, as well as this wall. and I want that sitting just around 50% IRE anyway, around that middle gray. So that actually looks pretty darn good for exposure. I'm gonna go ahead and jump over to this next node, which is gonna be saturation. I just separate the nodes just to keep everything organized and separate, and I'm able to adjust different settings from different nodes. So that's the only reason I do different nodes. It doesn't really make a difference. Now, all I'm gonna do here is just boost the saturation until of the place I like it. Maybe like that. Maybe adjust the contrast just a little, make it pop just a little bit more. And then I'll go ahead and set the white balance. It is just a little warm, as you can see along this line. I'm gonna go ahead and just slide that down ever so slightly to just about where I like it. Do a little green. And a tad bit more saturation. Okay, boom. And that is literally it. There's before and an after. Go full screen. There is a after. As you can see, there's a little bit of green and color rendition down here, but that's just gonna be because it's 8-bit. And there's not a whole lot you can do with that, but I could probably crush the shadows a little bit more, but I like to keep it a little bit more even like this. And we'll go ahead and before and after, just like that. Just like that, works pretty well. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Like, it's super simple, super quick, and you just do these over all of your clips, and you're in a Rec 709 profile again, and then you can go ahead and work on your grade. I'm not gonna go into color grading. I just want to do a quick how to correct without any LUTs and stuff like that. It's super basic, super straightforward in DaVinci Resolve. And yeah, so that's gonna be how I do it, how I correct all of my footage from S-Log2 to Rec 709. Okay, so that's gonna be it for the color correction. I'm not gonna go into any grading tips right now, just to get you to Rec 709, and then you can focus on your color grade. Teal and orange, you know how it goes. Personally, I never had that good of luck using any correction LUTs or anything like that, so I just learned to correct it really fast on my own. It seems to work really well and pretty fast, so that's what I do for my color correction. Question for you, let me know in the comments below any future videos or questions you have about filmmaking, productivity, or something like that. In the comments below, let me know. I want to be giving you guys good value, so I want to know what your questions are, what you're looking for in this channel, what you would hope to see it grow into, and stuff like that. So that would be a big help. Thank you for sticking around this long. I'm done. That's it. Bye. Have a good one. I'm shooting through a shower curtain right now. A shower curtain. And you guys complain about not having expensive gear. Shower curtain. $2, $2.50. Try it out, it works. Of course, I'm using a $300 light behind it, but you know.